job, Jeremy. That's funny. Got it. There's
Happy
your
on
camera.
command.
Well, what'd you say?
Happy on command.
There it is, happy on command. I just push button happy. Hello, everyone. I am Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. It's been 2 months since I've gave this speech, and now I'm forgetting it slowly. Let me try again. We use a variety of TTRPG systems to create a homebrew that we're trying to work into our own system, which will hopefully be coming out soon. It's a lot of work. We're not a large group of people, so we have real jobs and doing things. But there's some great progress coming along in that. And we use this system called the Tales of Ulran to tell our story. And the awesome people that are here joining me on this Sunday afternoon have shown up once again to help me write the story, one chapter at a time. Did I get through that okay? Thank you. Those are my friends right there, man. They're like, you suck so bad.
Give it a 7 out of 10.
Right, thank you. I'll take that. 7 out of 10 is better than anyone gave me in high school. I'll take it. It's fine. Moving forward. That's not true. I was cool. Let's go ahead and start with introductions. Mr. Keaton, please tell us about, well, hell, just, what makes you tick since it's the first game of the new year and the character you'll be playing in our Plan B campaign.
The Resident Viking, playing the part of Rook, our nether-scorned Voldros, who dabbles in the Oogie Boogies.
The Oogie Boogies. That's a new subclass I've not heard about. The Oogie Boogies. I like it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it wrote up. That's canon now. Let's call it. Moving right on to Colby. Go ahead, sir. Tell us about you, yourself, your character, just Happy New Year and all that good stuff. Jump into it, sir.
My name is Colby, and I'll be playing Arsin, who is our own version of Dragonborns, what we call a Drakin, and he is sort of the shadowed version of those. And he is officially on his way to be learning the ways of the Elemental Monk.
Yes, and also, with all the credit to you that I can give you, you have been pulling out some neat things that people haven't expected of you. Now that you're starting to get into these interesting monk abilities, diving a little bit into your darker side, going back, watching the videos, and doing it, your shock value on the stuff you've been coming up with has been very good, man. So continue the great work. It's been fun. Okay. Last and certainly not least, from a new location, it's Bella. Please tell us about you, your New Year's resolutions, and your character. We'll put a little extra stress on you just because it's fun.
Alrighty. So, my character is Az'ara, who is the seemingly human but actually Dariblin who got spooked by a friend of hers who wandered out with the faux Dariblin horns at the end of kind of think last episode or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I think she's an interesting character because my vision of her has been altering as I've been getting to know myself and learn more about different aspects of my being as well. So it is cool to be able to play this character from like the Plan B created that we did into this now kind of new version of her that still is accurate to the old one, but now is becoming its own thing. So it's a pretty radical.
It is. I agree with that completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it is neat to, you're doing dance now. And then the character was dabbling in trying to work on some dance things. And there's all these.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage that if you can do it and handle it. Some folks can't. Some folks, not everybody has the greatest go of it. Life's tough, and some folks want to do everything else but anything that reminds them of their own personal lives. And then some people can have fun exploring that with their characters too. I encourage groups to be open to all that kind of stuff and just see where it goes. And this one's going pretty well. So, hell, it's working.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Stamp it. So, um, we were recapping a little bit because, like I say, 2 months. I mean, Christmas presents, New Year's Eve, craziness, blizzard outside. It's like negative 27 yesterday here where I'm at. Uh, we tried to get a good idea of where we've been and where we're headed. We just kind of had a quick little bullshit session, right? Uh, there's a lot there. It's neat how this has kind of developed into this thing with so many facets. And this was the campaign I swore I wasn't going to overwrite for. I was going to let it write itself. And, it is. All I do is just take notes of the chaos and we follow a path, So, um, we left Az'ara and her character kind of had a cliffhanger where she had just encountered, like she was saying, Iveron, one of the younger fire red-haired workers at Starvale's Traditions, I believe, and it's a elven workshop where they make elven type um, furnishings, customs, anything that has that particular touch, and they craft those things and sell those to people who want that in this city. Because this city is a multi what's the word I want to say? Multiracial, multicultural.
Melting pot.
Yeah, it was melting pot of all kinds of different people. So they're one of these merchants that are the best at creating things for the different types of elves here so they can feel like they have a piece of home with them. Made by traditionalists that know what they're talking about. And so Az'ara went there with this hopefully trainable, redeemable kind of cabbage that has a creature inside that is very questionable. She is doing everything she can to make this work, right? And I'm like, we'll give her a shot. We'll see. And so I think he had just noticed kind of that thing. And we stopped your scene there, okay? He had already presented, if I believe, the wind chimes and that whole conversation's happened. So you know that another Dar Eblin or somebody that understands your homeland had asked him to make this charm, this symbol of their people. And you can't imagine who would ask for such a thing. You know what I mean? And from the description that they gave him and the plans that they gave him, when he looked at you and saw the real deal and saw the horns and looked at what he had crafted and was glad to see that it worked, as when the chimes were clinging together as he was walking it out and the wind went through, he could see on your face you were remembering. It was that sound that they make reminded you of home in a way that he was able to pick up on. So you were kind of in that moment, and I'll decide, or you can decide how you want to explain to him. Hey, I got something. Could you grow it or put it? However you want to do it. Okay, we'll jump into that in just a minute. Colby, once Arsin received his package and got that herbal mixture, do you remember how many uses of that they gave you? I remember there was a number. I just don't know if you ever wrote it.
Yeah, it was for single. If it was just me using them, I had enough for 17.
That's awesome. Okay. So once that's done, do you have any other aspirations, or were you just going to go to the Brookwaters, the fighting spirits, and await Rook in them to collect the reward money? If you have anywhere else you would like for your character to go, or if you want to do a session, well, you just got back. You can do whatever you wanted. If there's anywhere else particular you'd like to visit, I'll give you that opportunity.
I think Arsin knowing and seeing how much encounters he's had and it's like how eager he is to start this path of his.
Yeah.
I think he would make his way to do a session as quickly as possible. So he'll probably go back to his room in the guild's place and do one.
Okay. So we'll walk you through that in just a minute. That's where you're headed. So you're going back up to the room that you have above the guild. The the Rangers Guild there, the Darkwood Huntsman of Hamelsbyre, right? And you have a room up there, and that's where you're wanting to return to, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that works. For you, Rook, you showed up, and if I'm not mistaken, Winona was not there. Or was she? She wasn't, and they were in the middle of leaving, and you had those kind of foreboding words from Tamara talking about, make sure you are true to the ones you're with and don't let your own ego get in the way of, she had those words, and you just can't quite tell. It looked like we said, looked like they were going to mourn in some way. She was dressed way more fancy and way more ceremoniously. Almost like highborn people meeting in some kind of banquet or some kind of gathering. Like the real royal shit she was dressed in. Along with Gwyneth, which is the centurion woman and the owner of the Heart of the Beast Salvage and Supply. So you still have... I'm trying to remember, do you have... We know we have all the things on Roselia's ship, but you also left some things there that you needed to have transported back by Enel Brookwater because you couldn't bring that all back on such a small vessel.
Yeah.
And do you have, and we don't have to go over it now, but do you have some kind of at least idea of the amount of materials that were there?
Not off the top of my head. I think Danny went through a lot of that, putting it all together.
Okay. And if we have to, we can roll some dice just based off of our memory of what was there and just go with it. That's not something to get hung up on when we're telling a story, but it could help things quite a bit, because
I personally walked away with a bag of that hallucinogenic nightmare powder.
yes, you did. And then Bella's character, Az'ara, has her own little secret thing that she gathered from that, which was very clever. You remember all that, Belle? Okay, cool. So after that, Jeremy, did you have anywhere you wanted to go before we get back to the Fighting Spirits?
What kind of time of day are we looking at?
Well, at this point, we left pretty early, and the battle would have taken a few hours at least. And when you would have came back, the first scene would have unfolded after you had some travel time. So we're going to say evening. You got about it's the winter time, so I'd say you got about 2 to 2.5 hours until dark at this point.
I know one thing on Rook's mind. So probably swing to the Warrior's Altar, but I do know that he would want to try to stop by the Satire at some point this evening because Yasha invited him and he has been a little bit more than busy to be able to go.
Okay. Are you wanting to do that as a group or as an individual?
I'll bring it up to everybody to see if that's something they want to do when we link up the Fighting Spirit.
Okay. So those are afterthoughts. The Fighting Spirit is first for you?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and kick this off with Az'ara's interaction with Iveron and finish that off. And if there's anywhere else you wish to go after that, I know you said you don't even want to bring this bundle of joy to Hector and all them because their life is complicated enough. Which surprised me, but I was like, that's a good call. That makes sense. So let's go ahead and take off with you, okay?
No more surprises.
No more surprise. He's had enough of that shit for a little bit. His nerves can't take it. No more. I cannot take it. So you were still outside the doorway, I believe, and you had revealed your true self. And you had had this moment where at first it was fear, but then you realized it was crafted and it was a beautiful thing. And then he starts asking, what is that? Okay. Now, I want you to remember to get yourself back into the scene. You don't know. You two seem to get along well, and he has a lot of etiquette around you. It seems to be very noble. He's very young. He has good intentions about things, and he's not really. You would almost be concerned if something like this would offend him. He would think it would be blasphemic. You don't even know if he's religious or not, really. And that's the kind of fear. Like how do you go to your buddy's house and watch like the TV mature movie with him when you don't know the demographic of the people that's going to watch a movie with you, right? It's that kind of angst. So, having said that, his last words to you were, what is that? And he's looking.
How close is the wind chime horn things, by the way?
Once they began to chime and he saw that you had done that, he would have been holding them actually still.
So I think there is maybe like a physical reaction, a little bit of once the, oh my God, this guy is collecting the bones of my people, to, oh, that is a crafted wind chime that is literally the sounds of my home that I don't remember. So once that dissipates, she's like being in a space of reflecting on like a home that she doesn't even recall. I think maybe her hand may have almost like drifted out towards it, maybe then revealing the little cabbage. And then she's like, oh, right. So there is this creature. We were tasked to take care of it, but I think there can be good in it. I think there can be a hope for something more for it. So then it isn't just a monster. And I know that you have dealings with the magical creatures. There's the sneaker, of course. And I am trying to do what I can to save the people I care about. So as much as I want to be directly a part of this right now, I know that it would not be safe in my care. And I know that I want to give something that is destined for pain another chance at life. And I'm hoping that you can help me with that.
This is one of them situations where your great portrayal of the scene doesn't take checks. I can see it, so thank you for that. He starts to put the wind chimes and wrap them up. It's weird. There's this leather-like carrying case that they came in, and it's crafted to hold this particular thing. It looks like a circular leather bag that's embroidered, okay? And it holds a cylinder-like shape, and in it are 5 different round-like sleeves that go up and down the side. And each one of the horns slides into one of those places. And in the center is a circular pattern shape that top wooden piece that all the silver chains hang from, that it goes into and twists into place. And then there's a lid that goes on top of it, and a leather strap, almost like a belt buckle, tightens up over top of it. He begins to put that back together about halfway through your not your sales pitch, but your explanation of this, okay? As you were doing that, I do remember there being a scene where the Fae Sneaker was around and it took off. It did not like what you had. I do remember that scene. And when you're explaining this, it's starting to make sense, and you can see he seems to be in his early 20s, okay? And sometimes when people try to look a little bit more clever than they are, it's a bit animated, but you can tell he's having pondering thoughts about it. He's entertaining the idea of how he can help you, okay? First, he looks at you, and I want to do an insight check on you. I want to know how much you believe what you're saying, okay? And I'll tell you what I get here in just a minute. Because when you're saying things about it being redeemable and stuff like that, he believes your intent, but he's wanting to gauge if you think it's possible or not. Oh, that D12's not going to give me a good roll anytime, is it? It looked like a 20, I'll be damned. Come on. 15. That's a 21. So, you can do a charisma check versus that, or you can do a 10 plus your charisma bonus. And if I beat that, which I probably did, then you would tell me the intentions, or describe it to me in a way that you think makes sense.
Okay. So you mean giving like the reasoning of if she thinks it's even possible?
Does he think that you believe in your own words?
She's speaking genuinely.
Okay. So you are committed and you believe it to be possible.
I think the reason to provide the clarification is even based on the brief interactions with what she is.
Yeah.
She is sort of reflecting back on, based on what Hector told her, based on everything that's been going on, that there was a very different outcome intended for her, and something that was intended to, like, that, I mean, the stereotypical of the Darieblin of like vicious and bad and whatever the case is that maybe some people think of as the people who live underground. So I think, but with everything that has occurred where she's been received by the party well, she has met another Darieblin, she has been received by the guild well, her family has been validating of her. Like all of these things in a row, I think is solidifying that sort of drive of like things that are supposed to be doesn't mean they have to be. That the things that are meant for pain maybe just don't have the right supports, or like whatever the case is. So her fundamental view of what she is has begun to shift, and that's why she focused so hardly on these little creatures who in her eyes seems little less than babies or like kind of creations.
Yeah.
In the sense.
They're
So
little potentials. They are little potentials, yes.
Yeah, they're just little sprouts, pretty much, like a potential to grow to something that, who knows, maybe it could thrive, maybe it could help, maybe it, once grown, can be returned to the garden and be a protective force, or whatever the case is. And yes, so that's where her energy is spurred by, because that's kind of what I was talking about during our introductions, is when she first started, the core of her being was, I'm a monster that needs to stay hidden. And now very quickly, a whole lot of evidence has come up that shows, hey, I'm not a monster. I've been received as I am and am liked for it, or like there is hope beyond that outcome. So that's where her energy is around this. But she also knows physically probably not the best idea to be hauling around a cabbage when they're potentially doing like very vicious fighting. So
no, I get it. And that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. So with that, he looks at the wind chimes and he looks at you for a minute, and he looks at it. And he takes a step closer to you, okay? As if he's wanting to say something private, okay? As the door is still kind of open in the background, you can see the gaze of maybe his sister. You can see the father still working in the background and kind of looking over his shoulder every once in a while, as you can hear the sanding of wood, and you can hear different things being tapped on, clocks running in the background. And so he takes a step towards you, and he looks to the door over his shoulder. And he says, I could keep it in my room for a time. It's not going to endanger. I get what you mean. I get it. Just a minute. Just a minute. I have an idea. And he goes inside. Okay, and you're kind of left standing there for a minute, and he shuts the door. And you can hear a soft, mumbled voice of one of the elder elven men there. Could be his father, could be somebody else, but they're older. And there's a conversation being had. And you can hear him walking off with his boots on the wooden floor. Okay? As you're sitting there, or as you're standing there on the front porch, are you still, do you have your hood drawn? Are you still in your original form? I remember there were certain people that looked, correct? What form are you in currently?
I think she is still in her true form, but she does put up the hood to kind of hide a little bit, just because she does know how safe the area is.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah.
You would see people kind of looking at you for just a moment, but nothing like glaringly, like, ooh, what is it? You know, none of that kind of stuff. But there are people investigating you as they walk by, just as people do, because you're kind of shrouded and mysterious on the front porch. With a bit of time, he comes out, and Jeremy, I want you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d4, and you represent Everon. And Colby, I want you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6, and you represent the collective wisdom of the people listening in on the inside. Okay?
It's perfect. This is the first time I get to use my dice roller.
Nicely done, buddy. Grayskull! So, first off, I want to know what Colby got.
19 and 5, so that's a total of 24.
All right, Jeremy. How did Veron do?
Also, for context, probably if it does take a while, she's maybe getting a little bit antsy, so...
Right. No, I'd say it was 5 minutes.
Okay.
But long enough for it to be a little bit like, how many minutes has it been? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That, do I need to run right now?
Right, yeah, yeah.
That's a 10.
Okay. So, when Everon opens the door, he says a line, and he says it in bad acting. Okay? And as he opens up the door, he says, you can put what's owed to us in this particular container, and I will take it as payment for work done in full. And I'm glad you've come to receive this. It's been here for quite some time, and we are glad to be rid of it. And as he's selling that to you, he's kind of looking at you like, go along. You know, he's kind of doing that with his eyes. But you can tell what he's saying isn't the most convincing act. And he has brought out a container that you can only roll a... You tell me what kind of check you want to roll to understand what kind of bullshit he's throwing down here. You tell me. Or you have an idea anyway.
I don't have any idea. And I will do insight, because The only one that makes remote sense.
Mhm. I get that.
And that
That's
is
fair.
a 14 plus
Plus
2,
things is good.
so
16 will get you
17.
there. 17 will definitely
No, wait, hold on. I'm bad at math. It's 16.
Okay. As long as it's over 15, we're good to explain this. So what he's done is he has created some kind of deal here, and he holds up that wind chime like he's giving it to you, and he is giving it to you in its carrying case. And he has a big container there, and he is going to make it seem as if whatever it is you're giving him to put into this container as payment is payment for the wind chime. That way he can convince the people inside that when he's taking this thing and taking it up to his room and doing his own thing with it, that it is in some form of payment for the work that he's performed. He's not selling it the best, but that's what he's saying. And as that's happening, you see some elven woman in the background is picking up scrap pieces of wood and is brooming off some things, and she whips you some stink eye as she passes the doorway, because she can tell he's full of it. She doesn't know what he's up to, but she seems to be just a touch older than him, pretty, but looks kind of contemptible, like one of Cinderella's sisters and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of feel. And she's whipping a look out like, yeah, Everon, I'm sure that's what's going on. You know, one of those things. So with that, what are you doing?
I think she sees the risk that he's taking, and she, although is very hopeful about this, or she does trust him and the experience that they've had, at the same time she doesn't want to put him out, and she doesn't want to have that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that, and also another Darieblin individual like commissioned that thing, right?
Yeah, but the words he said earlier were, you know, this tears you back and forth in your head. It's been there for a long time. Someone didn't come and collect it. He did mention that, I believe, when I was watching over the last episode. I believe he mentioned that.
I'm trying to think real quick.
And it could be a neat connection to trying to find another one that you don't know is around, or maybe that's a bad thing. I mean,
I'm trying to think if I have anything valuable on my person, because what she's gonna do is she is going to not leave the cabbage with him, to not put him out. So y'all, I hate to tell you this, but Cabbage Child is coming along for the ride, and she's gonna make a carrying case for it, because although
they sell strollers in New Gamdar. I'm sure they do.
Well, you know, like maybe those like baby strollers, just like a
backpacks.
Like Rook just gets this shudder of a spine. I'm like, am I about to be asked to carry something?
Yes, that's awesome. Absolutely. So, okay.
So yeah, so I'm trying to see if she has anything valuable on her person to drop in as payment, because she is going to take the horns.
I would say that you would have a scarf or two that are of pretty decent quality. There's one particular one that you don't ever want to get rid of. It's kind of dear to you. And you might have some kind of coined like belt that is a mixture of different medallions and things that are of a thin metal, more decoration and to create sound for when you're performing your dances. That would go around either your shoulder or your waist. You could use something like that and leave in there as well too. It looks pretty decent. You know, it's more for show. It has little not tambourines, damn it, but little cymbals that kind of cling together and shit along it, so when you dance you're also creating a music and a rhythm at the same time. So you have something of that nature as well. Those things could work, and you do have some coin on you.
So I think what she's going to do is she is going to take one of the one scarf she doesn't want to get rid of. She takes off all the others and the medallion belt, and kind of some coin from her person.
Nice.
She fashions a little baby sling out of the scarf that has sentimental value to her.
Nicely done.
And she drops the rest of it into that and takes the horns and says, I thank you very much for your service and your craft, and this is greatly appreciated. And then trying to convey of the, I get it, thank you, I'll take it from here type vibe.
He has a look as if he's kind of like he's accepting it, but he has a look like he's disappointed you. He's kind of bummed out. It's almost like when the it's not the same. No, it's not that kind of energy. I don't want to describe it that way, but it's almost like, oh, that was a chance to show her. Ah, blew it. Shit. He has that kind of look a little bit.
I think what she may do is, as she is kind of taking the horn, she may kind of like, do like a little bit of like a reassuring squeeze of the hand, kind of being like, showing of like, not angry, not mad, from the bottom of her heart. Thank you for the effort anyway, and thank you for receiving me anyway, before kind of like adjusting the little baby sling, adjusting the horns in her head, now logging of, I need to figure out where these horns came from and kind of explore more about them and explore more about my memory. Okay. Now taking care of Cabbage, and I think, Brian, I may need to talk to you about altering her class a little bit, but I'll talk more about that with you because I have an idea.
Okay, cool. We can do it. So, that works. You're able to make that exchange, and he gives you a nod, and he keeps playing the role. He looks as if there's things he will say later, but he doesn't in a moment. He's trying to sell this, this idea. And he's kind of looks down with relief, and he closes the container that he brought out for his payment, knowing now that it was kind of unnecessary, but is willing to go through with it because it's part of the ruse. And he heads back inside and nods, and you can see the woman and some of them just kind of looking along at the basket, as he comes back in judgingly, as he shuts the door behind him. And right before he does, he goes, We'll talk soon. And thank you. And he closes the door. Okay. From there, do you have a place in particular you're wanting to go? Do you want to go to the Fighting Spirits and wait, or do you have another destination?
I think she's going to the Fighting Spirits to wait because she wants to have a little bit of individual time with the experience of the horns. And also, she does not want to grace the doorstep of her family, not because of lack of wanting to see them, just because of safety, care, and for their own well-being. She
Makes sense.
Has reassurance that the guild is looking after them, and she doesn't want to put them at risk by maybe breaking a safety plan, rolling up, being like, "Hey guys,
yeah,
how's it going?"
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, it does. Okay, so we'll put you there. Jeremy, since you're going straight there, we'll kind of put you last on this. Okay, sir. Hope you're enjoying everyone's stories. Colby, we'll go ahead and go with you next. You head back to the Rangers Guild, home of the Darkwood Stalkers. Okay? And as you go in at this time, there are people going around lighting up the lanterns, getting ready for the sun to go down, potentially in the next couple of hours. It seems like most of the contracts have been finished, or the negotiations for the day are over. Many of the tables have a few extra people sitting at them, standing up, going over a few more plans. Typical scene in here. Gathered up backpacks and goods, and people making logistical decisions on how they're going to go slay said monster and do said thing. This is an adventure starting facility. That's what this place does. And the people in here come together, they make plans, they get what they can from the guild, and they go and they hunt. Okay? And you're seeing that, but it's dwindling down. As far as looking for familiar faces in here, go ahead and roll me a perception check, please.
$19.
19's good. Rainlore is nowhere in sight. Theru, the Bulgarian hero, seems to. Do you know who that is, Colby?
Is she like the main one, like the main person?
It's a he.
Oh, didn't know. I don't think so.
Okay. He's the one that looked kind of like a half orc, but not exactly. A little bit more beast man like kind of vibes from this. The tusks are there, but there's a different kind of look. I'll get a picture and send to you guys what our version of the Bulgarian look like. They're really awesome. It's my answer to the orc in our game and why they came to be. They're like a mix of a beast and a razorback boar kind of mix into a humanoid-like hybrid. They look like that creature was given immortal form, and that's what they are. And they're very, very cool. Think a razorback boar plus Beast Man from the He-Man TV series. And that's kind of where we're getting at. Okay? That's my vision for it anyway. AI Art's going to maybe help me along with that. When I get some time, we'll get something figured out. He was the one that had that game when you guys first came in here. He was playing about how to identify different shit. He looks like a traveled warrior, has the fur of a some kind of black and brown dense fur hanging half over his shoulder, some kind of older looking leather and bone armor. Seems to be a barbarian of some kind, but with a mystic kind of artistic warrior kind of splashed in somehow. There's something more than just your average barbarian to this guy. And his nickname here is Tharu, Tha-Ru, and they call him the hero. Although he seems to be reluctant to just take full grasp of the title. Okay? And he is over there counting out some coin and pushing things into different piles on one of the larger central tables. And he kind of looks up at you and gives you a begrudging kind of nod of acceptance that you're back. And in the middle of doing all this, you catch a glimpse from the corner of a man that you have encountered before. And it is Oridon. Oridon was the one that helped you in that fight when Symphona and him showed up when you guys were in the Netherfall. Okay? Do you remember his description?
He was like I have like the Draken type Aravian. That's what I have.
Kind of. He looks different than that. He had feathers for hair.
Okay.
And he had like dragon-like claws and things and scaled arms. And he had lions like golden fur around his chest. He looks like a griffin, but a man.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like Hugh Jackman is who he would resemble in theory. A tall, muscular man that carries a trident on his back. It definitely looks oceanic, definitely. And the cloak that he wears over himself is tied tight at the waist, and he has high boots on, so you can't see a cat, and you can't see the make of him. It's almost like this cloak is made to disillusion and make people not pay attention to the things of him that you know are outstanding. You can just see that kind of Hugh Jackman, mortal-looking, intense face underneath. And he starts striding towards you when you make eye contact with him. He walks up to you, and he looks at you, and he kind of sniffs. seems like you've been putting things together. You have a different aura about you than the one I saw before in the street. He goes, have you come here to seek another accord with Rainlore in the hopes of preserving the leader and head of this facility? Or do you have other business?
I have other business. I am right now just playing the head of my room.
He just gives you a nod. And he goes, and when you go to walk past him, he kind of puts a hand on your shoulder, and it's extremely strong, even for you. And he says, he goes, we almost live our lives. But the sands grow short in the hourglass. You understand. Actions need to be made. We can work on our own personal goals. And he looks to you a little deeper this time and he goes, but if there's no future, what good are those goals? And her future and her time's running out. He lets go of you and walks abruptly over to a table, grabs a handful of things and heads out the door in a march. Okay? Collect from that whatever you will. That's just what you caught him in the middle of, as said the dice. Okay? So from there, you would be heading upstairs to your room. Okay? When you get into said room, nothing seems to be out of place or out of order. Sunday. I like it. Oh, man. A lot of beer yesterday. Hoorah! You know, no door ajar, no creepy weird shit going on. Everything seems to be in order. And who is it that you shared a room with? Was it...
I didn't share a room with anybody, I don't think.
Because I know that Finn and Rook had one room that was theirs. And I know that Az'ara had her own. Did you have your own as well? I remember we had to do that somehow. I think that's the case, yeah.
Yeah, I think they shared a room, and then because Bella ended up doing her gravity thing at her door, making those two like stop at her door.
Yeah. Okay. So you come in and you can tell that the room has been cleaned. People have been in there, but your belongings have been left untouched. They are dusty still from the day and a half or 2 days from whence you've left here. This place has an old school kind of cottage feel, but it has the feel as if it could be locked down like a citadel if it needed to be. So there are creature comforts in this place, but there's a lot of stone, a lot of thick wood. It could hold up. If the city ever come under attack, this wouldn't be a bad place to be. Okay? You get that sense from it. Tell me what you're doing. You're in your room, bud.
I think he would find a spot in the middle of his room, specifically on the floor, and just set the tea out, like the kettle, the cups, the incense, and everything out, and to prepare for the ritual to go to this place.
Okay, so let's see here. Give me just 1 second. Go ahead and roll me a nature check or whatever kind of check you think it would take to see how well you're able to put this stuff together your first try.
Wouldn't it be history because he's trying to remember? Because he would try to be doing it the way Ru and all them did it when he was in the temple.
I'll let it be history, yeah. And you also have a little bit of directions there too, so that's not going to hurt anything. So yeah, I'll let you do that.
$22.
22. You make it a bit more potent than you would have thought, because you realize you do have to function later. This isn't the end of your, this isn't the end of your day or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you are able to put it together. And do you smoke this or do you drink this? This is tea, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you're doing that version of it. Okay. So I'm looking for a map here real quick, and if I don't find it, we'll just go ahead and move forward here. I'm just looking real quick. I think this is it. Come on, load, you beautiful son of a gun. Let's roll. Computer's a pretty good computer, but sometimes I ask a little bit too much of it. Okay, let me fix a thing here real quick, my friend. The gang. Let's get rid of him. Let's do this. Just 1 second, buddy. I'm setting something up for you. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. I think that will work. All right, so hold on. One last thing. I just got to make sure I've got this the right. Yeah, that'll work. Sorry. You're like, who are you talking to? What are you doing? Trust me, it's all weird. All of it. That's cool. That's real cool. Okay, so you sit back, you find a comfortable place, you have a chair there. You could either use a chair, you could just lay in the bed and do this, or you could sit out in a meditating position, much like the one that you see Yakon Ru and Tanemeh take when you were at the temple. Which one of those do you want to go onto the floor, the bed, or the chair?
You would take the meditation on the floor.
Okay. As you do that, and you are positioned out there, you go ahead and take this drink. And just as soon as you're starting to think about, I wonder how long this is going to take to kick in. Okay? I need you to do me a Constitution saving throw.
That will be an 8.
And the answer is pretty quick. Okay? So, just about the time when you think to yourself, I wonder how long this is going to take. Right? It just kind of happens. Yeah, exactly, Bella. And as that kind of happens, you're looking down, and you turn your hands palm up, and you're looking at them. And as you move your hands up and down like this, you can see almost like echo-like images of them fanning out in all different directions, almost as if you've placed your hands in water, and these are the ripples just going out in all different directions. Your appendages feel light, and there automatically feels like there's air blowing in this room, but you know there were no windows open. And you have to kind of close your eyes, and you just start feeling, because you know that your eyes are deceiving you, Arsin. Okay? You do feel extremely light, and you can't even feel the pressure of the floor underneath of your knees and legs, as this position makes you a little bit more sore than someone that would do this a lot. But all that's gone. And you really start to doubt that you're even sitting there anymore. It just feels odd. And the wind and things are starting to pick up. And the more you question it, the more you want to open your eyes again. But you keep telling yourself, I can't trust it. I can't trust it. Your natural instincts are kicking in. And out of nowhere, you feel something wet on the tip of your nose. And then on top of your brow. And then it hits some of the fin that's on the side of your head. And you feel these little wet spots. And it makes your eyes naturally open. And when it does, you appear to be in this place. And let me go ahead and do that on here real quick with the maker. Just 1 second here. Let me do a dun, 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 dun. And we will, this is what you see. Okay. I love this shit. So, you find yourself sitting at the temple in the training ring. There's a mixture of snow and rain both falling as it comes down on top of your head, and this feels as real as anything you've ever felt before. And now that ache from the hard stone slabs of the ground starts to emanate, and you're starting to feel like this is real. Oddly enough, as we mentioned before, normally you feel that ache, but now it's coming to fruition, or to is that the word? It's becoming real for you. Okay? I'll span out a little bit, and you'll also realize that Tanemeh and Yakon-Ru seem to be in here with you. What's interesting is that this seems to be nighttime. The only illuminated place is the circle. As you scan around and look from left to right, you can see these statues through the dense blizzard and rainstorm that seem to be emanating a light. They almost look like those dragon lion, kind of like Asian statues that you see. They emanate light from all the different corners. So just beyond the threshold of this is dark night, but yet inside the ring it appears to be day and illuminated. And as you appear into the center of the ring, Tanemeh is looking at you with that kind of expression right there. That kind of, that thing. And he says, "That was fast. I did not expect you so soon. But nevertheless, we can tack now if you would like to. Are you ready to begin your training? Or continue it, as it were?"
I'm ready.
So, let's go ahead and set the tone for how this needs to work for you. Okay? So, typically what we're going to do is we're going to use this as an instrument to give you your levels up and do your different things. Now, what I'd like for you to be able to tell me, and we can do this in game right now just to kind of show and make sense of this, but normally send me a message beforehand or something in chat, because I know that you've gained some new abilities in your level up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, this will be a chance for you to use those new abilities and practice with them a few times. And they will work with you and explain to you how you learn them and show you some of the ins and outs of them. And that's what we're going to use this platform for. So now, live in front of everybody with no secrets, tell us the name of one of these new kind of unique abilities you'd like to know a little bit more about. And we will put it in here and you can try to use it a little bit. And I love this. This is actually a very neat way of doing this. Yeah. Cause I got high. Diddy-dup-dup-dup.
I think one of these new abilities is going to be his ability to deflect.
Deflect missiles?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Jeremy loves this one. This is one of our favorites, isn't it, buddy? I think I'm going to give him the super cool version of it, too, because that's what we're doing for Ulran 2.0, which we did first. I'm just saying, people are going to watch this Bella's face like, "Oh, sure, Brian. Oh, sure you did. Right on. Right on. Thanks for being in my corner, young lady. That's great." Right on. So, with
Talking about
that,
deflect missiles being turned into deflect attack 6 months after we talked about it.
yes. If you can catch an arrow, you should be able to deflect a sword and catch a fist.
Right.
So, right. So your reaction can also be used to reduce the damage of a melee attack against you and capture it. And if you're able to exceed the damage of it, you're able to take and smack them in the face with their own fist, take their own foot and whip it up in the air and make them fall down on their ass. Or if they're bringing a sword at you, you can maybe even catch a damn thing and kick it back at them, or smack an axe where it comes back around and gets them. It works with melee attacks just the same way as it would with missile attacks. And it should be that way. So, yeah. What were you going to say, Bella?
I have to say that it is so, like, cool and cinematic, but also has so much potential for Looney Tunes hijinks.
Oh, fucking yeah. And we love both those things when we're playing this game. So, I mean, you gotta take it. You gotta take it. Freaking own it and shit. Alright, so, Colby, I will leave it to you, since you are a roleplay master. I'm going to leave it to you to go ahead. That's right, Bella's trying to help you get in character, man. Just let it go. Just get ready, okay? You're going to present what these people need. Mind you, Tanemeh is a smartass, and he's skeptical of you, as a sensei should be. Yakon Ru's going to be your silent kind of witness, and he'll usually be your guinea pig. He is the bronze. Tell them what you're wanting to do. Say it as your character would say it, and we'll get this going. And then we'll move on to other things when we are finished with that.
Yeah. My time away, I've taken too many hits I would like to take. So I think it's time that I learn how to send these attacks away from me and back at the person that sent them to me.
Tanemeh starts pacing back and forth in front of you. And he's listening to this. He's listening to the things that you're saying. Okay? And as he walks back and forth, he's looking, he's nodding his head. He goes, it is a intimidating step to move away from the armor, the darkness that once helped protect you. Protected possibly an evil soul not worth protecting, perhaps? But nevertheless, when we shed those material items so we can truly begin to grow and understand our potential, it leaves us more vulnerable. And as he walks over to you, he kind of pokes you in your chest on your scales. He goes, see? I can touch you in this place. You can feel that, can you not?
Yeah.
Whereas before you had your armor on you, the thick black metal that I found you in when they brought you to us. Yakon keeps it in his room. It's a lot. I couldn't carry it. It's too much. And he goes, but now that we can touch you here, though, he moves his finger up and he points towards your head. He goes, we can also get to that. And also now you have the chance to move out of the way. And he draws back and he goes to punch right at your chest. Ooh. 25 to hit. Does that hit your armor class primary, or does it break past your armor class breach?
My ACP is 22, ACB is 30.
Okay, so it hits you but doesn't penetrate. So he's able to hit you in the chest. Okay? Now, I want you to understand something. When your breaking point is 30, that's your secondary. Is that when you're wearing the armor? Because I think your normal armor class when you're just a monk is a 22. So he's hit you that he can't worry about breaching you unless you have armor on.
Well, my hide and the armor is both a +8.
Okay, so it's your hide and things like that. Okay, so he is able to make contact. Wham! When he does, it inflicts. He's going to go easy on you. 6 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are moved back 5 feet. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that to you. Just a second, buddy. Holy cow, come on now. We gotta find this stuff. A lot of characters in here. Holy cow. There you go. Okay, we're gonna move you back 5 foot. Knocks you back, and as he's done, you can see his cloak has wrapped around him and a bit off of his arm. And he's got a muscular little goblinoid looking arm. It's just kind of sitting there in the air, just hanging like this, a big old fist, you know what I'm saying? And you're looking at him, and as you scoot back and you kind of catch your feet, he whips together and gets back into another position. And he goes, now this time let's try not to get hit, huh? And he ticks down, then he jumps straight up into the air, and you're looking up and you're seeing the snow, and you're just like, right? And he comes down with a foot, and he's coming down with a flying kick at you. Okay? This time, okay, this is a 24 to hit, so this once again hits you. Now, use your reaction. I'm going to do the damage for this and see if you can, you know how your deflect missiles and deflect attacks skill works?
Is
Read
the
it out loud.
which
This is going to do, this would do 9 points of bludgeoning damage, so I'm going to write that number down and keep it in mind. Okay, so you're using your reaction here. That's key to remember, okay? Now, how does the move described?
it is described on what I have here is ability against an attack you can see within 30 feet of you. Any damage not prevented by this ability is taken by the original targeted attack. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can make an attack with it.
Okay, so how do you reduce the damage? I think, and Jeremy, am I not mistaken, it's a 1d10 plus his monk level?
I believe that's correct.
Do you have it written down there in front of you, Colby?
I can. Because I don't see anything that says that.
Well, I believe that's the case. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to roll 1d10. And Jeremy, while we're doing this, if you can find that somewhere real quick, that'd be super helpful. You're going to roll 1d10, and you're going to add your current monk level to that number, and tell me what that number is.
3.
A total of 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what level is your character?
1d10 plus dex modifier plus monk level.
Okay, so what level are you again?
Do we level up from the grove?
Unless I said so, no.
Okay, so
I believe it's level 5.
yeah, I'm level 5.
Okay, so a 3's impossible already.
Yeah. Okay,
so you've got a 5 plus your dexterity modifier, which is what?
3.
So that's 8. Now you're rolling a 1d10 on top of that.
Well, remember my level is also split, so level 5 was my overall level.
Okay, so what is your monk level?
We have it as I have it as first, but it was first with the level 3 abilities. That's how we did it.
We'll do it a 3 then.
Okay, so that would be 7.
Is that plus the 1d10?
Yes.
You're on natural 1.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Can't help that.
Nope.
You were able to reduce the damage of that attack by 7 points out of 9. Okay? Which is major. So you take 2 points of damage and you are forced back another 5 foot. Okay? So let me go ahead and make that adjustment real quick. You're moved back another 5 foot. And Tanemeh lands right here at the spot down. And when he lands, he's looking at you and he kind of shakes off his ears as a little bit of snow is collected. He looks at you and goes, That's a little bit better that time, but we're still moving a little slow. Let's try this one on for size. Okay. He says, first, look at me. Take a deep breath. What are you doing?
He would get into a more, like a better stance to react more quickly and for his next attack.
Okay. He's going to shake his arms out like this. He's going to crack his neck. He's going to look at you. He's going to say, now begin. And he just jumps right at you when you've had that moment to collect yourself. He restarts the initiative practically. He took you in and out of it just like that. Okay? He is going to come at you with a flurry of blows. Okay? And as he comes at you, you swear it looks like he's coming at you to kick you and punch you at the same time. Alright? As far as you can tell. I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw, please.
A 13.
A 13.
15.
A 15. Okay. With a 15, you're able to see this is a tornado attack that he does. Now what happens is this looks like there's 3 different moves coming at you. Okay? And with that wisdom saving throw being where it was, which is a 15, or you said it was 15, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You were able to discern that the fist that looked like it's coming at you and the left kick that looked like it was coming at you were not the true backbone of what he was trying to do. And that there was this left hand that you see down making almost like this knife-like finger thing, and that was the true attack that he was trying to get at you. The other 2 were feints. Okay? So your wisdom saw through this twister, this typhoon of all these different physical moves. You're able to see the true one. Okay? Which is going to lower his attack. He would have got a major bonus to it, but now he gets a minus because your intellect or your wisdom, you're able to see through his disguise. Okay? And his attack roll, which is naturally just ridiculous, is a 23. So that hits over top of your primary and makes contact, but it doesn't breach you once again. Okay? You may use a reaction since this is a new turn. That's why he had you shake it off and get ready. Okay? This is going to be 5 points of damage, a 1d6 plus 3 on this one particularly. Okay? Go ahead and roll your 1d10 and make sure when you say this, you're calling it for what it is. So this is 1d10 plus dexterity plus 3.
Alright, so I rolled a 10, so that'll be 16.
16 is great. What you're able to do is when he comes at you with that knife hand, you're able to actually capture that move before it even hits you, and you're allowed to use a counter attack strike against him. You can either be creative and use his own hand and bend his wrist and twist his arm to hurt him, or you can slap it to the side and you get 1 counter attack strike. How do you want to say that you do it?
I think for this instant, he is going to slap it away with his left hand and come around with a right hook with his right hand.
Okay. Roll for your attack. And you have a favor on this, so you're rolling a 1d20 and a 1d10.
$24.
The 24 hits. It does not breach, but it does hit the small, frail, poor, helpless goblin. When you hit, his head feels harder than you would have thought. It's almost like you were hitting something made out of just wood. It feels like it's surprisingly dense. And when you hit him, it almost shocks you a little bit. You're like, oh my God, wow. When you hit, you feel his head turn, but his shoulders don't move. And he kind of slowly turns around and looks back at you with a wicked eye. And I want you to roll charisma for intimidation. I've got the DC.
8.
Okay, you begin the fact of being frightened. Okay, you are frightened at the moment of him. Okay, and when you do that, and he can see that panic in your eye, he goes, "Don't worry. This is only as real as you make it. I might feel this in the morning, but I've been through worse than your punch. Make no mistake." He goes, "It seems you are catching on. Interesting." And he turns and he begins to walk away. And as he does, you can see all of a sudden, you look at him, he's standing on one leg, Colby. And he picks his other leg up while he's facing away from you. You can see his little goblin foot raised up over his shoulder. Like he's standing on one leg like a flamingo. And the one leg just kind of comes up, and as he turns towards you, goes, "Ah!" And the leg comes down and like this axe kick, and he's doing it from like 5 foot away. But it sends like this air wave, almost like a sonic boom looking kind of thing, from his foot like an air blade, straight at you. Okay? I need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw.
$13.
Okay, with a 13, this thing hits. Okay? Just for the sake of learning, and we'll make this the end of this. Okay, we're going to say that was coming down to do 7 points of air wind slashing damage. Okay? I'm going to let you use another reaction and decide how you want to handle this. You describe to me, how do you want to stop a blade of wind from hitting you if you know that you can't dodge it? It's getting you full on. I'm going to let you use a reaction and see if there's something you can do here. What do you think?
Well, if I can do deflect missiles well enough, I could use the Gale of Wind with it. Well, the Wind of Gale Spirits with it. And create a gust of wind to make it go out.
Correct. Which was a really cool thing that you did a couple episodes ago. So, go ahead and we'll say you have a reaction. I'll let you use that Gale of Wind with it. Okay. Tell me what that looks like.
So he would see that slashing wind coming at him, and he would put put his palms to the side together with him and then thrust them forward, and it would just see like a big gust of wind go from the palm of his hands outwards and like move against that slashing wind and disperse it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll 1d10 plus, what is it for you? It's 3 and then what?
3 and 3, so it would be plus 6.
Yep, go ahead and roll it. Tell me what you get. Don't roll 1.
Didn't that say anything, Brian?
Did you roll 1?
Yes.
Okay. When that hits you, it knocks you that final 5 foot out of the circle. Okay? And the last words you hear are, "Come back when you're ready." You hear this laugh coming at you, okay? And then you fly back through this into the night, into the outside of the actual barrier, okay? And as it does, you fade away and you feel yourself being removed from this stuff. It's coming back, and you wake up and you're slammed down on the floor in your room. It literally knocks the wind and shit right out of you. You took 4 more points of bludgeoning damage, and you fall, boom, right? And your hands go back, and it's like you were dropped from the ceiling back onto the place where you were in your meditative pose on the floor, and you're there. Okay, and you can still feel the burning sensation from the wind cut that just come across you like an angle and smacked into your flesh, and you can feel it on your scales, and you can still hear the echoed kind of the kind of cackle from Tanemeh as that happened. And from there, we will go ahead and return you back to your room. All right. So with that, I want to go ahead and take our first break, if it's okay with everybody. And then we'll, Colby, if you want to, just for expedience, was there anything else you're wanting to do now that you've had a chance to practice through this before you head to the Finding Spirits? Excuse me. Okay.
No, that'll be it. He'll be heading that way.
What's that?
He'll be headed that way now.
Yes. So, fun stuff, right? I thought that was pretty cool. So let's just kind of use that formula going forward, Colby. When you get a new move from leveling up or something like that, you can go visit him and learn from the books and things and scrolls that you carry on your person about the teachings he's wanting you to practice until next time. And if you get knocked outside the ring, you got to go back. Okay, so that's how it works. Let me go ahead and get ready to pause this. And we'll go get a cup of joe and do all that kind of fun stuff. And then we'll come back to this. And we'll take off with Jeremy entering the meadery. Just 1 second here. Because I want to pause recording. Yeah, I don't want to stop because that would be an editing nightmare. Be back in a minute. Got it. Recording in progress. And it is. We are back. Good deal. Okay, so what an interesting break. I'm not going to get into it. These good people know what's going on. And we're just going to keep playing in a fantasy world where toilets never overflow. And I like that. I like that. Okay. So, after tying up loose ends and going through taking your own particular paths and taking care of some things before you meet back at the Fighting Spirits Winery and Meadery to make quite a bit of coin, which is going to be great for you guys. I'm excited. And then I get to create all the stuff you need to spend it on. That's fun too. That's real fun. Jeremy, I'm going to say that Rook is going to be the first one in there to show up. Is that fair?
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll let you just kind of take the wheel on this, bud. Okay? So, let's see. How do I want to do this? Okay. First off, tell me where your mind's at and what your goals are when you're going into this place. Because the place is going to be fashioned based after the type of mentality you have going in. You know, you can either be the sheriff going to help people, you can be the bad guy getting ready to throw down with somebody and start a fight at the bar. Tell me what you're looking for and what you're hoping to accomplish. Do you want to get a seat for everybody? Are you trying to have some fun first and then beckon for him to show up to you? Do you want to talk to that waitress? That is a connecting point. Familiar faces, you tell me how you want to do this, bud, and we will custom fit this campaign to your pleasure.
We're going to be very mission focused. Like, we've done this, we got back. I don't want anything, you know, I don't know what kind of spoilage we're looking at for anything that we recovered. So we're obviously going to need to get that delivered back here as soon as possible.
Yeah.
All that. But first and foremost, you know, we went and did a job. I want us to get paid. So I would like to walk in there and look for that waitress and just indicate, hey, I'm going to sit at this empty table. If you wouldn't mind a drink, and let them know I'm here.
Okay. So, as you're going in and you're looking the place over, at this time of day, this early afternoon, you do not see Enel This place is a little bit. There's some of the workers in there still that get discounted drinks and stuff like that. Some of the halflings and stuff that look like the lead actor from Jaws. You know, that old fellow we was talking about last time and all that shit. Those characters are really fun for me. They were great. And you don't see any performers or the stage being set for anything at this time. There are a couple of mandolins, and there seems to be a table up there, like I forget what it's called, but it's the kind of podium that holds a sheet music or a script. There's a few of those set up on stage, and there seems to be one or two of those halfling workers that are up there setting up some different kinds of lantern lighting and hanging some ribbons and stuff in the background. Seems like they're starting to build a set for a show that may be taking on later, maybe happening later on. Okay, as you walk in, you're not the sort of person that comes in here very often, Rook. But as you do, you hear a couple things. It's like they're back. Hey, I think that's one of them. That could be it. Yes, the winery saved. You know, you're hearing bits and pieces of rumor, and as that happens, you glance over to the bar to the side of this place. Remember, he said it's quite a fancy-looking place, and you make eyes with the waitress that you had before. Remember, I don't remember the name of the actress. It was the shorter one on Two Broke Girls. She looks like her. If anyone happens to know her name, throw it at me. I feel terrible that I don't remember it because she's hilarious and a great actress on that. But that's her. And she looks over at you and she kind of gives you roll a perception check, Jeremy. Thank you, Bella. Cat, really? She's that cool that her name is Cat?
It's the brunette one, right? Kat Dennings?
Yes. Kat Dennings. Cool, man.
Nat 20 for a 26.
This is great. This is great. I want you to remember that this 20 helped begin something. This is key. You rolling a 20 right there makes me happier than I can tell you right now. Okay? That's great. That helps a lot. And it makes things complicated too, which I love. So she really was an enjoyable waitress the last time you were here. If you remember the whole conversation, I've watched the video back in editing, and it was a really cool scene. She played a part. She was really nice with you guys. She wasn't overly flirtatious, but she was kind of cool and clever, kind of had this kind of mystique about her. And she got you in contact with Enel, introduced him to you, and is one of the reasons it's then that Enel asked you to go on this adventure to begin with. Okay? When you look at her, somehow, and I'm giving you some details because you're 20, okay? Somehow, you would expect her to be excited. Everybody else in here is, at your presence, as we've already mentioned. There's whispers, they're back. What did they do? They look unharmed. The winery saved, all those things. When she looks at you, there's a second of shock and a moment or two of some kind of primal content. Okay? That washes over her. Like this dark kind of look for just a minute. And then she puts a grin on her face. And then corrects. And then grabs a towel, throws over her shoulder, grabs a flask, or yeah, I guess you could call it. It's not a flask. What do you call it? The long pouring thing. They would hold at a waitress's counter if they was going to come out and serve you water out of a pitcher or something. She has a long vase full of certain wine. It has a long handle on it that they would come over and cater to you with. And she picks up one of those and a glass and heads to your table. breaking eye contact with you, but there's a moment there that was just not what you expected. Have you done something wrong? What is her angle? Right? Natural 20 gets you that. Okay? She makes her way over to you. And with a touch of sarcasm, she says, well, you look well. I have to imagine that other things don't. Will the other ones be joining you soon? I can go grab some more glasses if they all made it out.
Everyone made it fine. Surprisingly. Not too much damage done. Only what was directly necessary.
To the issue, or to the winery and the supplies and things? What damage was done?
The issue of what was attacking the winery is completely eradicated. By my count, no more than a couple of barrels that I don't even suspect were entirely full.
And from that one older worker that talked to you guys, the guy that looks like the main actor from Jaws, the one that says doll's eyes roll back in their head, that guy, he kind of pokes up beside her. Mind you, they're all halflings. And he says, and the mother, did you see her? Did you lock eyes with her when she come up there and the smaller ones were feeding on the wine and barrels left in that desolate and forbidden, cursed place, if it were?
Oh, I saw her.
Did you swart 'em, lad?
I did. And I saw her. One of my own lifted her up on her own. Without breaking a sweat.
Lifted her up, you say?
Lifted her up.
Oh, for gods, as if gravity itself was ill-placed. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Shaw, gods! So make quite the story. I can't wait to tell the others. Are you thinking it might be clear for us to start back to work?
I'd say so. If there's anything left, they're nothing but little ones. Might as well punt them.
The woman looks over at him, and he says, and it's in due time that they have done this, because you're running up quite the tab, not working and being in here all day long, every day. And she looks at him kind of sarcastically and kind of looks back at you and grins and winks. But it doesn't feel genuine after that look she gave you still. And he looks at her, and he says, oh, Selenia. He says, you're such a hard ass sometimes. You just reckon that we'll be having that wine coming back in here in bucket loads soon enough. You just keep on that fake smile of yours and sell what we bring you. He says, I'll leave you all to it. Great work on that. When it comes back in, the first round's on me and the boys.
I'll hold you to that.
You won't have to. If you were able to slay those abominations, a drink is the least I can do for you. You take care now. And he goes back over and he sits down with the other ones, and the other ones are all kind of like, what happened? What did he say? What's going on? He goes, oh, lads, it was crazy. And he starts telling his version of you slaying that shit. It's complete and utter bullshit. It's like, he looked into its eyes, and it had opened up its big grassy maw and went to stomp down on him. He grabbed the teeth and said, no! Not today. he's telling the whole story, like, taking what you said and just fucking running with it, right? And you're hearing this. As you're doing that, she's looking at you, kind of overhearing this as she's pouring you the long pour that they do. They start a pour in the front, and when they do, they actually curl the cup and go over their shoulder and continue the pour and stuff, and then they end it at the same time and then put it on your thing. It's something they do here because I say so, because I create this world. And when she sits it down on the table there, she says, so how terrible of of a burden was it to clear out these pests?
Wasn't too bad. A little bit of a pain. But we're all back in one piece. We didn't lose anyone. One of us got eaten, if that tells you anything. We got him back, but...
They were, and she kind of recoiled a bit. She goes, they were big enough to eat something?
One was, yes. Well, two. There was one even larger still, but it was so large it couldn't move anymore. It rooted itself to the ground. I believe suspected that might have been the mother of the creatures.
She kind of looks at you, and her eyes kind of go flat, and she goes, well, creatures have some mother, I suppose. And at that moment, Arsin walks in the front door. Arsin, you walk over to the side there, and you can, or into the main entrance, and you can see Rook talking with, and her name, by the way, you mentioned, you noticed that one of the workers said, hey, by the way, does everyone see the new Rainlore wallpaper? Not bad, right?
Looks awesome.
Yeah, and that is Jason Momoa qualities put in. That's me doing a lot of artwork on that. I did a lot of the hair myself, and then did some other things. But that's super cool. And the redhead in the distance, that's Nadia. And I put some color to her hair. I don't know if you guys can see that. And also, when Finn's comes up later, you'll see the face is different. His wallpaper has been completed with the new likeness that he wanted to have. So anyway, back to the story. Thank you. I really enjoy doing that stuff. It's cool. So you would see that waitress, and her name, so you guys can keep track of this, is Selenia. Selenia. Okay. And she is the lead waitress or matron of this facility. She has a lot of pull here. She is pretty much the lead. We don't know how far that goes into their dealings of their brewing process, but as everything as far as people greeting, servers and things like that that goes on here, she seems like she's the one to deal with. When she was talking to Enel, she was the only one that was kind of brass and didn't talk and kiss his ass like everybody else in this place does. So that tells you a little bit about her character, okay?
I would say Arsin does walk in a little sore from his training session with Tanemeh.
Nice. As you do, and you take a couple steps in, she's looking at you, Selenia, and she says, big enough to eat him?
Funny you should mention that. He was the one to be eaten.
Her head drops, you know, and she just kind of looks back in wonder. And she says, gods, I wouldn't have thought. I'll get some more glass. How many all survived? So 4 glasses?
Glasses. And I thank you very much.
Thank you. Everything should be back to whatever normal is around here now. And she turns slowly, looking at Arsin, and is kind of sizing that up, what that must have been like, as she goes back to get the other glasses. Arsin, you walk in, you can see that conversation. Are you headed straight for the table after you're kind of rubbing your chest and working it out a little bit and remembering, this is a guy coming at you and knocking you out of the world of the stupefied? Are you just going up and sitting down, or what are you doing particularly here, buddy?
Yeah, he's going to join Rook at the table.
Okay, cool. As soon as you do, you can see those other workers, and they all hold up drinks, and they're all saying, "Hail, I," and they're all toasting to you in the corner. You feel like a conversation's been had here before you came. Okay, you're walking in to the middle of a conversation that involves you somehow. Okay. As that happens, Az'ara is shortly behind you. Matter of fact, before you've even sat down, as soon as you go to pull out the chair, you walk into this place. Az'ara, you see the scene, the halfling workers over there. They have like their 1930s flat caps and their wool gray vests, and they're dressed up with some of the symbols of this place, the Brookwaters, which is that symbol of the halfling holding up the spear with the giant's foot coming down, is encrusted on, is embroidered on the back of their stuff, and the symbol on their hat. Okay, and they're all toasting Arsin as he's getting ready to pull up a chair, and you see Selenia coming around with several different glasses, getting ready to pour you all drinks at a table Rook is already sitting at. What are you doing?
I'm wondering if they have a different reaction to me, being that I have the little cradled cabbage.
No.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you don't. It's not like its head's poking out.
Okay.
You know there's something alive in there and something moving around, but you don't really. They're not investigating you that much right now.
Okay. So she books it to the table. She likely transformed into the human look, because I'm pretty sure that's how she was introduced before. Because I don't think she was in the Dar-Evelyn form before. So rather than it be
only up in the booth where you were kind of privately doing that was where did you show that? So you're correct.
Yeah. So she keeps up, so it's not like, hi, this is the same person, and then having to answer all those questions. So she kind of wanders in, sits down.
Right on.
Probably comes in right about the time that Rook looks at Arsin's like, we've been back a couple hours. How do you look worse?
Tanemeh is how, because I received my new form of training, and I decided to do a session before I come here. And he kicked my ass.
It doesn't look like it did very much good for you.
Tell him to throw a dagger at you, man. Show him. Be like, I'll show you, by God.
We'll sit down, have a drink. We'll be here in a moment.
Wait, does Az'ara know Tanemeh? I don't think they've ever interacted, right?
Think you do. Nope.
Still kind of just hearing, like, just sitting down around the time of Tanemeh kicked my ass, and it's like, wow. Internally.
Ask him about it. I'm curious to hear what his take is on it.
Is Tanemeh a friend of yours, or a teacher, or a sparring partner, or did you insult somebody?
It's awesome.
Tanemeh is more of a mentor to me at this point.
Oh. Well, hopefully, I wish you luck in your training and hope they have better outcomes than what you look right now.
Nicely done. And Rook's met him before. You know him, Rook. You've been up there. With that, Selenia, or Selenia, however you want to pronounce it, shows up with the other glasses, and she looks you in the eye and looks heartfelt when she says this to you, Az'ara. She looks at you, she goes, I'm glad you're well. I'm glad no one had to get hurt in this endeavor. This is on us. Enel had asked it when and if you were to show up to make sure to put this towards the payment that he offered you, but we're covering it. And at that moment, you see her look down. Yes, what? And it's a little girl halfling. Okay? That's dressed up in what looks like a dress that's too big. Okay? That's tied up around her with her hair done in 4 ponytails that are all pulled back and hang down, 2 over the front and 2 over the back, that have bows that look like they're, you can tell she's middle class and commoner, but she's been prettied up nice by whoever helped get her dressed. Okay? And she looks up at her, and she says, Mom, I'm growing tired of just being in the back room. Are you going to come back at your turn? She says. And the girl looks at her and she says, Kila, not right now. This is very important. I'll come back there and take my turn in a moment, child, okay? She goes, be good, okay? And she tickles her on the nose, and she kind of takes his face and she kind of giggles. She goes, stop, you know I don't like that. And she goes, I know you don't, Kila. It's fine. Just head back that way for me, okay, Kiki? And she tickles her on the nose, and she smiles again. She goes, okay, Mama. And she turns around and she kind of flips her ponytails around and heads back, overly cheery, and she goes back into a back room behind the bar. You can only assume that this is like she doesn't have someone to watch her. So she's there at work, and they seem to be maybe playing some game in the back while she has a chance. Working moms. Happens. Even in Ulran, right? So, with that...
Can I insight check her discomfort?
Yeah.
Like, because I know that, like, obviously she's presenting as very different than everybody else based on Jeremy's interaction. And of course, Az'ara doesn't know that, but I'm curious if she notices it.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you get.
9 plus 2.
11?
Yeah.
With an 11, if you're looking to see her discomfort level with what exactly? What particular thing? Are you with you all being there, with the job at all, with the daughter coming out of the back room? Is that the main focus?
I suppose so. I guess
the kid may not even be your daughter, but she said mama, but who knows, you know?
Mainly, so the reason why is based on the presentation, like, there's a part of me that would want to probe deeper to be like, hey, why you having the reaction you having? Because something's kind of off. But being with 11 and kind of she's probably like, man, working moms, rock on.
I get it. She doesn't like to mix. With an 11, I'll say this: if you had a kid, and you were lucky enough to have a child in this world, Az'ara is thinking to herself, it must be tough for her to choose what elements of this job her daughter gets to see and which ones she shouldn't. And she knows you folks, but you are also just patrons. She doesn't want her seeing that element. And in that moment, you maybe get just the light glimmer that she doesn't want the same life for her that she has to have. And that's about all I'll give you with an 11. Okay? Okay. So, I'll give you all a minute to catch up, talk amongst yourselves, and if there's any kind of conversation to be had, and have some drinks. I'll just let you guys kind of take the table. Discern about each other, find out some information, and mind you that where are you placing your sapling while you're here? Are you putting it on the floor underneath your chair? What exactly is it are you doing?
Baby wrap.
Okay.
When I say that, I mean that literally. Do you know what I mean by the baby wrap?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that sling.
So some of it's exposed?
Here, let me see if I can find a picture to explain.
And I know when a baby's wrapped, you can still see the top of its head.
So the one I'm thinking of is one of the ones that it is kind of fully covered, but I'm gonna try to find an example. So come back to me.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. All right, because that changes things a little bit. With that 11, also she was looking at you, the waitress, quite peculiarly. Like, why would she have? What is that? You know, because she had that motherly moment with her daughter, supposedly. She looks at you and she sees similarly like that, but I'm going to say that you could actually tell she was kind of sizing you up for just a brief moment, as waitresses sometimes do, and wasn't able to connect the dots. You recognize that in her eyesight for just a moment. You know what I mean? Like a mom being with a kid, and she's not old enough to be the person's mom, but it just looks a little weird. Okay? But that's all. If you want to pull on that thread, you can, but that's as simple as that is.
I have a picture. I'll send it in the Facebook chat.
Okay, that'll work. That'll work, and I'll check it after bed. So, with that, do you guys have any conversations you're wanting to have? Get after each other.
What's the story on the lettuce? And I'm keeping this like low.
Very nice. As you're surprised probably by it being out like this, Jeremy. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
We have a new traveling companion, and I mean, that is the extent. I don't want to leave my friend in hands that I don't trust, and I am out of hands that I trust. So, they're staying with me.
Well, it's all well and good. It was just being a sprout. There's probably a pretty good chance you're going to need to find some way to feed and nourish it.
When you
Heart of
say
the Beast
that,
might be a good place of research for that.
when he mentions feed and nourish and says those words, you feel that thing start to stir inside of the cocoon, inside of its extreme extremities. It's leafing. I want you to roll an animal handling check. You are going to make things very interesting, Bella. Thank you. What the fuck have you done? God damn it. I thought Colby got the
We're supposed to act when we need the guidance.
Yeah. I rolled a 2. Yeah. And I have a +2. So that's a 4.
Okay. So a 4, you know, let's just be honest. You know how we talked about it was lukewarm, and then there was spicy rolls, and what were the low rolls? Do you guys remember what we called those? I can't remember.
Like,
what was it, Colby?
I think it was like worse than like the lukewarm water or something.
Is it lukewarm, ice cold, and hot or something? I don't know.
Yeah, but the point being, it just dawns on you with a 4 that your thought process, you're still young and you're just trying this out. And with a 4, you're realizing the error of your ways possibly here. You're realizing a mistake that this 4 has been collecting and building for a while. You deserve this 4. Okay? And here's why. These things hungered for the smell of that wine. In that place where you're at. And you know that. You know that very, very well. And you got so wrapped up, literally, in wrapping this thing up in this cocoon-like thing. And when it stirs in here, for just that moment when Jeremy mentions the word food, it just dawns on you, oh shit. I brought it to the mother lode. This whole place smells like wine. That's what this place is. Okay? And it's stirring, makes you think, huh. I wonder if that's any good. Right? Please continue. You can keep that to yourself, but that 4's like, oh, yeah. Right? That's what's going on.
I think she may quickly get up and be like, buy me a cask of the wine. I will pay you back. I am going to sleep.
The second you
and then leave.
The second you go to stand up, a halfling hand pushes on your shoulder. Right as soon as you start to flex your legs to get up, and it sits you back down. And it's this loud, boisterous laugh. It's like, well, don't take off so quick, little lady. If you're wanting a little bit of something to drink, I'm sure we can get that arranged. Selenia, bring it over, please. Thank you very much. I love it. And it is Enel Brookwater, the Jack Black halfling himself. And he's putting his hand on here. And he goes, "It's good to see you lovelies came back in one piece. That's absolutely fantastic. Super fantastic." And he's looking at the rest of you. And he goes, "You, maybe not so much. Looking a little stiff there, huh, champ?" And he's talking to you, Arsin, as you're kind of rubbing your chest and stuff like that. What do you say?
And some of this is my own accord. Other damages are during the actual fight in the grove, but nothing I can do about it.
Okay. He looks over and he's kind of sarcastically counting 1, 2, 3. I think we're missing somebody.
The Finn had a few things to take care of before he could come back here.
Oh, so he's not eaten or anything. There's
no
mess to clean up, is what we're saying.
Arsin was the one that was eaten.
I'm sorry,
dude.
dude.
He looks like hammered shit.
He says, "I'm sorry, dude. That's disgusting."
It was.
And he grabs that extra chair at the table and he turns it around. And he sits on the chair and he's resting his arms up on the back of the chair like this. He's looking at you guys. "So, tell me, like, I'm hearing things from over there. I'm hearing buzz from over here. I've got some performers in here later. You guys took a while. Like, I wasn't sure, what was going to happen and if you guys were going to be okay. But, you're back and you're in one piece. And did you have a baby?"
Or she could say anything. I had rolled a 23 on insight to pick up what she was putting down.
Yes.
So before she could say anything, I was like, actually, she was about to go run to the shop to pick up a few things that we needed.
Got a little couple things to do. I get it.
Yeah,
no, I'm down. I understand.
She's in quite the hurry, actually. I think she wanted to stop and see her family on the way.
Good. Well, hey, I believe the gold will be waiting for you then, my lady. And he stands up and sarcastically kind of waddles your chair out and holds his stout little arm out like this. And he starts singing a ballad about the heroes coming back. And he starts singing this ballad about, and she slayed the dragon down and she took it out. It's like doing all this stuff. And as you're headed out and stuff like that. And he goes, "She's been thinking about me." He says, like as he sits down with the rest of you as you leave off, and he goes, "I dig it. I'm not trying to infringe on you guys. We're cool, right, bros?"
Absolutely.
Nice. Love it. I love it. And so at this moment, trust me, I watched a lot of Jack Black movies just trying to pull this off, so bear with me. Okay, so
I am so glad Jeremy was doing that behind the scenes, because my immediate response was going to be so awkward in a group full of men here. So,
oh, I kind of get what you're picking. Okay, that's funny.
I'm like, what is something in a group full of men that you could quickly say to have an awkward "let me leave"?
I got a few things. Yeah, I know, man. So you head out. Where are you going?
She's going back to the sleeping quarters. She is going to wait for the cask of wine to show up to begin to have that as a way maybe to feed this creature. And she's going to investigate the chime horns.
Okay. Jeremy, I need you to roll me a 1d20 and tell me what your result is.
Oh, no.
It's a 10. So nothing spectacular.
Okay. Now, okay. Colby, I need you to roll me a 1d20 as well.
In the back of his head, Rook's probably thinking, I hope she didn't take a very obvious route.
This is really key here. What'd you get, Colby?
17.
Okay. I think you're all right. I think you're okay here. So, as you're going out the door, you got a 10 on the one. Last roll. Bella, as you're leaving, you see that waitress over on the other side, and she's doing another long pour for another patron. It's really getting that smell in the air. Okay? This is on your way out to make for the door. And you're now realizing, like, the stimulation in here. And you can feel this thing moving around and turning from side to side. Okay. And in the distance, you hear that little girl say, just a moment. And she's coming after you. Okay, Bella? She's following. And she has a ribbon. Like a bow like she had in her hair. Okay? And she looks up and she says, Mama wanted me to say she's glad that you're okay and I could give you this. And she's sorry if you got hurt. And she holds up the bow to hand you. It looks just like one of the little ones in her hair.
Can I cast the enhanced gravity on myself to keep this thing in its own wrapping?
Sure, do that, and I just want you to do me a roll as if you were creating the difficulty level of this. So it's going to be a 1d20 plus what would be your spell casting, your spell save DC. So normally your spell save DC is a 8 plus all these numbers. I just want you to roll this like you're casting a spell DC.
I rolled an 11, and I believe my spell save DC is plus 5?
I think so, possibly so. So that's a 16. Okay? You're able to contain and keep this gravity force and keep that thing kind of secluded. You don't feel like it's trying to burst out or anything, but it is a lot of motion going on. There's a lot of things stirring it. And as you do that, you're able to keep your composure. And as she hands that ribbon to you, are you taking it?
I think she's definitely taking it, but the way that she's taking it is, I don't think this is a comfortable experience, and her hand may be shaking a little bit. Like, I think she's feeling the weight of gravity and doing as much as she can to present normal, but there is that heavy weight almost like on her, and then just say, thank you so much.
When you touch that bow, roll perception check for me. I'm going to give you favor on this, which is a 1d20 plus a 1d10, because of the way you're concentrating on this creature at the moment.
1d20 and a d10.
Both together, and then plus your perception bonuses. Remember, when you have favor, you have the chance of rolling all the way up to 30. It's a 1d20
15.
plus a 10. What is the total?
15.
With a 15. you hear something. It's faint, but you definitely heard it. And you think you're the only one. As you're focusing on this cocoon, this cabbage, this lettuce, if it were, as Rook so elegantly put earlier, and you're forcing it back down, trying to restrain it to a degree because you're afraid it's overstimulated in this place. You hear something that sounds very familiar come out of the creature the moment that the little girl comes up and hands you the ribbon. Kiki. And we're going to end tonight's episode there.
Well, shit.
It's soft, but you heard it.
Oh, so this maybe is a good thing. Who knows? I don't know. We'll find out another week.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and get ready to do this, all this fun stuff. So listen, super fun. Once again, we didn't make it too far, but we made it far enough to have a good night of it, right? A lot of good role play, a lot of cool shit there and stuff like that. How's my Enel Brookwater? Are we liking him? Does it work?
Oh, absolutely.
It's enough, right? Okay. That's all I'm saying. If it's enough, I'm happy with it.
For it.
Good deal. Good deal. Oh God. Dude, you've got to be, there's a level of just ridiculousness you have to be able to put yourself through to do make-believe voices of Jack Black-esque halfling tavern owners and shit in this game. It's all there is to it. So, once again, thanks everybody. If you watch these, we enjoy it. We like telling the story. I think the story is just fantastic. It's growing into its own thing. You can't go wrong with these people. It's all good. So once again, on behalf of myself, Bella, Colby, and Jeremy, and Danny, even though he's not here right now, I want to thank you again for joining us on this Sunday. And hopefully we'll see you again next Sunday when we write this story one more chapter at a time. Is that a new thing? Are we doing that from now on? I guess so. And this is where everybody's acts really cute and waves goodbye and stuff like that. It's really cool. Goodbye. Yes, we're all doing this. Goodbye. It's a great exit for the video, and later.